Next up is Mike Sandifer. Mike and his wife are 18-year residents of Vanderbilt County. He's co-owner of Wetlands Stream Consulting Business. Please listen very closely to Mike because he's introducing a new program that I think you will like. One that has the potential to set in motion the restoration of our freedoms. Mike Sandifer.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for that beautiful introduction there. Freedom makers may get rained on, but we never get rained out. I'm a recovering pacifist. For most of my life, I sat on the sidelines wishing someone would fix the problem. Then a few years back, I realized that it wasn't getting fixed. And if everyone had that attitude, it never would. And I asked myself, what would it take to restore the freedoms we've abdicated? And I used the word abdicated instead of stolen because we gave them away. Yep. And it was obvious, though, there had to be a defined process. We had to focus our energies. And after studying on it for some time, I began to identify two outcomes. One outcome is we would continue to do nothing until the point of no return. Our freedoms would slip away. One outcome was we would continue to do nothing until the point of no return. For that outcome, I had no solution. The second outcome would be a defining moment, an epiphany, if you will, when we would collectively realize our liberties were in peril. We had such an epiphany on the 4th day of November 2008. For the first time in my life, the silent majority awoke and became motivated to action. And allow me to issue a stern warning. There is a very narrow line between motivated to action and motivated too late. We must remain vigilant, tenacious, and unite to achieve the goals. In identifying the process to restore our freedoms, there was 3 steps. We had to simplify the process, we had to unify, and then focus the energy. When we consider the vast number of enormous challenges, it becomes overwhelming. When we consider that most of our politicians have little or no regard for the interest, we feel powerless and become disenfranchised. The disenfranchised, they care, they simply don't know what to do. So what is necessary is to simplify the process so the disenfranchised believe they can make a difference and become galvanized to take action. If you were told you had to go to a foreign city in a foreign country with no maps, no money, perhaps not even knowing what continent you were going to, you may feel overwhelmed. But if someone gave you a map, gave you the resources, and showed you each day's itinerary and each leg of the journey, suddenly you become empowered. That's what we must do for the disenfranchised. For ourselves, we have to simplify the process. Part of the simplification is to understand human nature, how we group and label everything. We group planets. We take our planet and we group it into countries, countries into states, states into cities, and we attach labels to all those. And it works for us, but sometimes it works against us. Sometimes labels divide and entrap. Today you are challenged to disregard many of the labels that divide, many of the Orwellian labels that power seekers have used against us. Terms such as liberal, conservative, right-wing, left-wing, Republican, Democrat. We cannot win this battle using these cliché terms and other people's definitions and arguments. What we must do is redefine ourselves in a manner that articulates our goals and does not divide the freedom makers. We must embrace a common theme that unifies our interest and achieves our goals. Henceforth, I don't care about the other levels. I don't care if you're a liberal, a conservative, a right, or left. All I care to know is, are you a freedom maker or a freedom taker? I want my elected representatives to ask one simple question on every single decision. Am I making freedoms or am I taking freedoms? The design of the Constitution is to provide for just enough governance to stave off anarchy, and that's the kind of government I want. As I said earlier, there's 3 simple steps: simplify, unify, and focus. Freedom makers, it does not get any simpler than this. Let's talk about symbols for a moment. Are they important? Well, allow me to illustrate. How about change? How about hope? If someone can bring about such destruction with such nebulous, hollow slogans, how much more can we do, good people, with something that stands for something? Historically, freedom-making organizations have advanced their freedom agendas independently, and that does not have to change. But what does have to change is we have to unite under one single banner so our collective voices can be heard. Coming together is necessary to achieve one single objective: the restoration of our freedoms. What does this symbol do? It defines the issue. It eliminates the cliche, no more Orwellian terminologies that divides and confuse. It defines both the negative and positive terms. Unlike pro-life and pro-abortion, we're not going to let the non-freedom the freedom-taking side define what their labels are. We're going to give them a label, and it's called freedom taker. It provides ownership of the issue. As freedom makers, we will define what constitutes a freedom maker and a freedom taker. And it maintains the identity of our groups. Each freedom-making organization can continue unabated to pursue their goals and agendas. But as necessary, all freedom makers can unite and collectively focus their energies toward freedom-making principles. It begins the reversal of the indoctrination of our children that government should manage everything in our lives, from hangnails to health care. This symbol provides simplification and unification. Further unification is achieved through structure. The difference between a noisy mob and a victorious military campaign is structure. Our revolutionary fathers had the will to fight, but nothing would have been achieved without structure. To achieve focus, each freedom-making organization is asked to appoint a delegate to participate on the local Freedom Maker Steering Committee. This committee will identify how to best achieve the freedom principles within their community and report back to their organizations. Now that we've simplified the issue, unified the freedom makers, and established a platform to focus, what next? What next? Well, in 1994, the Republicans introduced the Contract with America. They publicly laid out principles and policies which they intended to stand by and implement. The program was hugely successful, but ultimately it failed because they failed to honor their contracts. But we're taking the good parts of this concept and bringing it to the local level. Instead of allowing the party that didn't get thrown out of office that term to showboat about what they're going to do, we're going to tell them what we expect. The Freedom Maker Steering Committees, made up of local freedom-loving organizations, will develop a set of freedom-making principles and develop a matrix on how to track performance. From there, we'll seek out candidates for different offices at all levels of government, school boards, city council, county councils, everywhere, whom we believe will honor this contract. And then the candidate, in front of cameras and large crowds of supporters, will publicly pledge to uphold the Freedom Maker principles laid out in the Freedom Maker contracts.